Hello, welcome to Night's Arcade. I'm Sleepless Night. We're back in Hardspace Shipbreaker and we're doing race week. I've forgotten the number of it. I think it's week 6. I don't know whether it's 5. I think it's week 6 this, but I honestly can't remember. So we're going to load into here. I have been doing a lot of Among Trees lately, but I am going to come back to Hardspace Shipbreaker permanently, well, you know, for a proper series shortly. At the moment, I'm going to finish off Among Trees, perhaps with the occasional race. Now, I did forget to set my audio running when I recorded this, so please forgive me. This is recorded, so the audio here is recorded after the fact. So I'm kind of have to try to keep up. So I've sped myself towards the ship here, open the airlock, rip the airlock off. There we go, the control console, but don't fire it down at the ship, it just takes me too long. Okay, open that.
Pressure levels increasing.
Thank you, lady. And oops, got a bit stuck. Lost a second or two there. Getting around to the.
Pressure level decreasing.
There we go. Switch off the airlock console. Start taking out the floors. I do this first because if you do the cockpit first, as I was doing to start with, what happens is that stuff starts to move around and then it becomes quite difficult to hit all the cut points in clean succession. You have to go and do them individually, otherwise you risk getting fire to the soft storage bins. So hopefully that did it. Yeah, cut through the floor there, all the way down to the bottom. Whee! See if I missed anything. Yep, I thought there was another cut coming on there. Right, now we're going to try and blow the floor out, I think, and attach the tethers to pull the tanks off, which I didn't do spectacularly well there, and then to pull the cabinets off there. Now, if I'd been efficient in my movements, I would have gone to the third floor panel before going out and sending them to the processor, but I was not. There we go. But if you do this while the tethers are still attached, you can pull those all down at one go, rather than doing them one at a time. I don't always get that. I quite often get hung up on stuff. So now try and attach these. But I'm going to mess this up, I remember. Yeah, that's it. Completely messed up attaching those. Blew the floor out too fast. So we got the coolant anyway. But now I'm pulling the fuel tanks off one at a time. Okay, so this is costing me time. Send that to the processor.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Take the tail fin off, or disconnect it at least. There we go, burn through those. That was reasonably efficient. Okay, see how I'm getting hung up on stuff here through inefficient movement? There we go. Do I go around the back here and cut the fuel? Okay, yeah, so cut this point, because if I don't do this here, I find that I forget it, and then I start tethering the tail fin to remove the thruster. And it's still attached, or rather the side panels I'm trying to put into the processor and they're still attached, but whatever. I often leave something attached because I'm not concentrating. That's those out. Burn off some of these cut points, as many as we can. If we do it from this end, we can do quite a few, but you've got to be careful of the coolant and the reactor at the far end. So I was lucky I didn't hit there. Let's take that panel off. I don't know if I'll remember to send that earlier on. I don't know whether I will or not. Right, let's take the roof panels now. Remove that soft storage crate. Okay, roof panels. We don't get clattered by those. So now, if you've watched other racers do this on Hardspace Shipbreaker, you'll notice that my movements aren't quite... First of all, my movements are not quite so efficient as theirs are. As the top ones, anyway. But second of all, I'm slowing down in my movement because I use a controller. Now, I use a controller because I can't get the hang of... The mouse movement is fine, but I can't get the hang of the keyboard controls on Shipbreaker. For some reason, on this game, the movements really leg me up, and I prefer a controller. But the price I pay for that is cut speed. So, you know, with a mouse, you can whoosh right from one cut point to another, to another, to another. And once you've practiced these ships, as everybody does, to get a high position in the race, you need to do a few runs. I think I've done about 5 at this point, but I'm not really ever expecting to be world number 1 at this. I think when we came in there, Goph had been displaced so far, but I'm sure he won't stand for that, so I'll probably try again. But yeah, I've tried. As long as I get a reasonably high score, I'm happy. I don't want to spend all week doing this. But if you do, that's fine. That was a bit far away to cut that. For God's sake, SK. That could have been nasty. That first cut I made there could have cut through the bulkhead and gone through the reactor. So now here, I try and attach these, but I quite often mess it up with the computers because of the inaccuracy that moving around slowly with the controller sort of gives me. Like I said, that's my choice to use the controller. I could use a mouse and keyboard. I just find the keyboard controls slow me down more than the controller slows me down. But I would, if I could use some sort of controller in one hand, mouse in the other hand combo, I would. So now we're pulling away the cockpit there, now that I've cut it away, to try and leave those items that I've disconnected inside. If you pull the cockpit away, it'll leave those behind, and you have to remove them one at a time. You see how they're all getting pulled out of the door, look here. Send that side panel in, which I'd managed to cut away from the back end. I didn't realise I'd managed that. The reactor, which is never particularly tricky on these small ships. The Class 1 reactors are pretty easy to remove. There we go. Send that side panel in. You see how my movements there when I attach the tether and whip around, they're quite slow because of the controller motion. And as I said, I could choose to use a mouse and keyboard. It's my choice not to. I just find the controllers a little bit... I get on ever so slightly better with the controller than I do with the keys and the mouse. But as I said, the price I pay for it is moving between cut points and removing them with pinpoint accuracy is something you can definitely get with a mouse, but that you can't. There you go. Lost a few seconds there trying to catch that thing. See? I can't go with the same pinpoint accuracy that I could if I used the mouse here. But if you get along with the keyboard and mouse combo for the 0G movement in this, fine. Right, here I remember, this is a moment of indecision. Because I thought, oh, shall I go down? No, right. If you want to get faster at this, or any speed run really, it does not pay to be indecisive. And unfortunately, I'm an indecisive person. So I know how I'm going to do it, but then one minute I think, oh, I'll go down the back end because it's quicker than trying to squeeze through that gap, and I often get stuck. But then I thought, have I cut the tail fin off now? I can't remember. And then it's going to take me longer to remove that. So, it was a moment of indecision that cost me precious seconds there. There you go, and I burnt that out, because sometimes I find that if I make with a split saw with a diagonal motion, it doesn't work quite as well. So, it takes a few more seconds to do it with the... Oop. It takes a few more seconds to do it with the Stinger than it does with the split saw, but... Oh, there you go. Now I realise... I was just about to pull that down and realised she just said tethers depleted. Then I went too fast and overshot. So you see, all these things... you make mistakes. Even the guys that are at the top 1, 2, 3 positions on the race leaderboard each week, even those guys make, sort of major errors. You can see, if you watch some of their videos, they do make errors because we all do. It doesn't matter how fast you try to go. When you're trying to do things at speed, that's when mistakes creep in. And of course, that's when you don't need them, which is why I say don't try, if you can, if you're doing the race, try not to panic. I know that's easier said than done. Watch this. I know there's a major mistake coming up here, look. Because I've got this here, right? Then I've realised, if I recall, that plate was in the way. And I think this caused me an issue. Because I changed my mind again. Look at that. Crap. Get rid of that. Thruster cap. Right, now here, I'm going to try to tether this down to the barge. But then I realised there's a plate in the way. So I need to send that in there. But because the plate's in the way, it's cut the tether that I attached to the thruster. So now I'm in trouble. Because the thruster's not facing down anymore. So again, this cost me precious time. And when you're doing the race, you know, you need that time. There we go. I found it again, but like that's cost me like 10, 20 seconds maybe as much as...
Cutter, there's 5 minutes remaining in this shift. Get in while they're getting...
There you go. Let's cut the thruster away. Fuel tank. It was a bit of a risky shot, but...
Secured. Account credit applied.
Then I realised I forgot to cut the pipe here. So I went down here to cut the pipe. Then I decided to cut away the airlock anyway, so that wouldn't have made any difference. The reason I did it, though, was because quite often, I'm sure you've had the same experience if you've been doing Shipbreaker a lot, I'll cut through the airlock here, thinking that I've got everything, and then I've cut it all away. Then I'll realise that there's some tiny little cut point. So now I've got to squeeze back through here, and there's some tiny cut point that I've forgotten. And for some reason it's now pulling the whole ship. And you can't do that on this one because you need all that aluminium frame to make your work orders for this week's race. So I think I've cut that away. And I've got to stop, check, see if I have cut it away. There it is, it's gone. Okay. So I got that piece, which I haven't been getting, so I felt a bit good about that. But that only matters if I can get this all pulled in quickly, which I'm not forced to do. And for some reason, I couldn't get this fuel tank out. I don't know why. Look. And then it just starts to come out on its own. Now, I didn't really need that fuel tank. I could have... The time I would have saved by going and doing what I was supposed to be doing probably was worth more than the fuel tank. But, you know, you've got to make these decisions. Oh, now I've attached the tethers to one of the lights on the bottom end, so that's by just fluke, I hit one of those tiny little lights. Pull that off. I've seen that control panel, so I'll get that. There we go. Which is the one I cut away earlier, I think, and thought, will I remember that? I don't know. I was about to blast all that into the furnace, then I realised that that doorway needs to go into the processor. But see that other console unit that I could have saved there that I just blasted and destroyed because I blew it into the furnace. So then we're off. I hate this bit because I did one of these. I recorded this the first time. This is why I forgot my audio. I recorded this the first time, and look how it slows down the frame rate when those big panel. I'm sure you've experienced this yourself. If you've got a my computer's not really a potato, but if you've got a slowish computer, it'll slow it right down. There you go, look. So there you go, I moved up to number 25. So that's it. World number 25 for this week. That's as high as I'm going to go because I don't have the time this week to try it again. But yeah, there you go. You can see Goph, who quite often comes at number 1. He's been displaced this week by Apocalypsis. And Clowns, was Clowns down at number 4 there? Yep, number 4. Okay. Mr. Dr. Dig Stomper. Oh, that's brilliant. Very, very clever. So there we go. I got to number 25. I probably could have got a couple of places higher if I hadn't made those few errors. But we all make them. You know, my movements could be a lot more efficient than they are, which is why, you know, I don't come higher up when I do this. Because it's all about, you know, that efficiency of movement. Well, there you go. So I might do another race video next week. I might not. But in the meantime, I'm doing a playthrough of Among Trees on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out. I'm having a lot of fun with that at the moment. I'm starting to have a lot of fun with the game, even though it's... Because it, like Shipbreaker, it is in early access. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff about it that could... be improved, and there's a lot of content that needs to go in there, but maybe I'll do another race video on the Wednesday next week, maybe I won't. But if you want to see more Shipbreaker from me, fear not, I will return to my Shipbreaker career once I finish with this Among Trees playthrough. I just wanted a bit of a break from it for a bit. You can follow me on Twitter at Knights_Arcade if you want to head on over there and check out what we're chatting about. Perfectly understandable if you don't worry about it. If you feel like you want to support my channel, there is a link to my Patreon account down in the links in the video description, along with the NARC Facebook and the NARC Discord server link if you want to head over there and chat to my community. I am now moving my live streams from Twitch to YouTube, so I'm coming home. That's it. I've finished with Twitch. I'm now going to be live streaming on YouTube as of today. This will go up Wednesday, so this will be Wednesday. The Wednesdays this goes up will be the last day on Twitch. From this coming Saturday, I'll be over on YouTube. But if you're not interested in any of those things, leave a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and ring the notification bell to be notified every time I post new content. But until next time, from Knights Arcade, this is Sleepless Night, saying nighty-night.